Hi. Biletnikoff Award-winning receiver Jordan Addison has entered the transfer portal with his sights reportedly set on USC. And the LA Kings look to take a commanding advantage in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs over Edmonton. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos. It is May 4th, 2022, and yes, I recognize that my locations for these videos is getting increasingly stranger. I don't care. I don't. The airport is a block away. In a couple hours, I'm going to be on a plane going home to my extremely attractive wife. And even later tonight, I'm going to be with my extremely attractive wife behind closed doors doing things I can't mention on YouTube. Don't care about that either. Here's something I do care about. If you like the content we've been putting out for the last couple of months, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. We put out a new video between 9 and 10 a.m. every day. The notification bell lets you know it's there. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comment. I'm not perfect. You can tell me. Now, the main topic is going to wind up being USC football, and I have a rant I absolutely have to get out of my system about how stupid some people on YouTube are when they talk about USC football and when they talk about Lincoln Riley and Jordan Addison. But humor me. We'll get there in a minute or two. Let's talk about the LA Kings first. After all, Game 2 is tonight. What have we learned so far? Well, the first thing I'd like you guys to know is Edmonton has not lost back-to-back games since early March. Now, what does that mean? Right? Does that mean that when Edmonton looked sluggish and nervous in Game 1, was that an anomaly? Or was it indicative of what normally happens with the Oilers in the playoffs in the last since Connor McDavid became a professional hockey player? Now, I'm not blaming Connor McDavid, but he's only advanced out of the first round of the NHL playoffs once in his career, despite being arguably the best player in the game. So which Edmonton team is going to show up tonight? Now, not everything went wrong for Edmonton. When we were talking about this series a couple of days ago, before it had started, we would mention the importance of the power play, how it was going to be a huge advantage for the Oilers, and it turned out to be the case. When they were on the power play, they were 2 of 4. When the Kings had the man advantage, Edmonton held them 0 for 4. So that's something the Kings have to address. Iafallo scored, set up another goal for the Kings. Trevor Moore scored 3 points. This was a gritty effort by the Kings, so that's the key to success for LA. It's abundantly obvious, because talent-wise overall, Edmonton's the better team. So this is just going to come down to good old-fashioned grit, whether or not the Kings can sustain that over the course of a series. Talk about the Chargers. Cornerback Bryce Callahan has joined the team. Now, head coach Brandon Staley has coached Callahan. He coached him in Chicago. He coached him in Denver. But I want everybody's expectations to be tempered, because you already know who your starting cornerbacks are. Callahan is not going to be a starter, aside from the fact that he's, not as good as the 2 starters that the Chargers currently have. He's been on IR in each of the last 2 seasons. So what this seems to me is he's probably going to wind up being not even the nickel back, maybe the 4th or 5th defensive back, somebody who, though, can communicate what Staley's trying to accomplish on defense. Smooth out the learning curve a little bit. Over at USC, before we get to Jordan Addison, former USC wide receiver Brew McCoy has committed to playing for Tennessee. Now, McCoy was arrested on a domestic violence case prior to the 2021 season. The DA did not pursue charges. However, USC suspended him for the entire year, hence the transfer. All things being equal, though, I don't think USC cares all that much right now. The number 1 receiver in college football has entered the transfer portal. Now, how important is Jordan Addison? Last year, he was number 4th over in the nation in receiving yards, 1,593, and he led the nation with 17 touchdown receptions. He could have been a first-round pick, but having said that, his quarterback, Kenny Pickett, left. He went to the NFL. Now, If he goes to USC, it's not official, but if it goes to USC, the hype would be off the charts. And we'll get to that in a half second. USC is considered the front runner, but other possibilities could be Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, and Nebraska. Now, I'm currently in Nebraska. I've been working here for 3 weeks. Cross Nebraska off the list. For as many people think that Cornhusker football is popular in Nebraska, I have yet to hear a single person in this state talk about Cornhusker football or Jordan Addison. Goodbye. I am extremely skeptical it's going to be Nebraska. Texas, meanwhile, went 5-7. They do not have the players that's coming into USC. I would check them off the list. That leaves Tennessee and Alabama. Now, Tennessee just got Brew McCoy. I don't necessarily think they're number one. And as for Alabama, that roster is just flat out loaded. So I don't think they want to penalize the receivers that are already there by adding Addison in. So something tells me it's going to be USC. The offense, if Addison comes, would be damn near invincible. Consider, USC is returning 4 offensive line starters. Transfer quarterback from Oklahoma, Caleb Williams, might be the best quarterback in football. There are 2 4-star receivers already transferring into the program, as did Oregon's best running back, Travis Dye. So it's either go to USC or stay at Pittsburgh, where he can have Keaton Slovis chuck dying quails to him. I think the choice is rather obvious. Now, because he's strongly considering USC, the haters are out en masse. And I just have to get this off of my chest. Because now they're talking about the NIL. Oh, it's the NIL. Addison's taking advantage of the NIL. And they're making it sound like it's evil. This is a distinct call out to all of you idiot bloggers and douchebags on YouTube who are alleging that a 20-year-old has just ruined college football by entering the transfer portal. Look it up. Those are actual headlines. 20-year-old just ruined college football. Cut it out. Cut it out. If legions of underage boys could not bring down the Catholic Church, there's no way in hell that a 20-year-old can bring down a multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry like college football. I see through you. I see through you and your poor attempts to obfuscate Jordan Addison's likely transfer to a more important school than Pittsburgh. You keep claiming the NIL is corrupt, and you're full of it, and I'm going to explain why. You guys keep using the phrase, oh, it's the NIL, in the hopes that people don't understand what the NIL is. You see, acronyms, they can confuse people. They make things sound different than what they actually are. I know what LGTB means, but then if you go, oh, LGTBQNIA, my eyelids flutter and I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Acronyms confuse. NAMBLA sounds innocent until you look up what it means. NIL, name, image, likeness. That is what NIL stands for. It is the NCAA's imperfect attempt. It is an imperfect attempt to compensate athletes after all of those years of slave labor. And yes, I call it slave labor. Addison can be compensated by businesses that use his name, his image, or his likeness. And you tell me how that's wrong. Because I for damn sure am not going to let you guys use my name for free and make money off it. Why should he? Because he's significantly more valuable than I am. William Shakespeare once asked, what's in a name? Well, I'm here to tell you, if you're Jordan Addison, there's millions of dollars in that name. There's millions to be made in jersey sales. The colleges used to sell jerseys with people's names on the back, the magazines at the games with the photos, posters, bobbleheads. Not to mention things like, the possibility of signing autographs, product endorsements. Now, beforehand, for the products that were sold, the money for things such as jersey sales and magazines went to the schools, not the players. Now, I disagree with Colin Kaepernick on a number of things politically, right? When he compared the NFL Combine to a slave trade, I did not agree with that. But before NIL, before that rule came into existence, the real slave trade, the real slave market was the NCAA. Thousands upon thousands of world-class athletes every single year risking injury, right? And they make these fat stacks of cash for these universities. And not only do they make just money for the university, when you play major college football, you are promoting a brand. Alabama is a brand. Notre Dame is a brand. USC is a brand. So when those games are on TV, trust fund babies from sea to shining sea are looking at that going, yeah, that looks like a fun school to be. I bet their Kagers are great. Mom, can I go there? That's what that means. And a lot of it has to do with the slave labor from these athletes. And trust me, I am the furthest thing from a social justice warrior that you'll ever find. I am far too bitter over real life to be aggrieved over microaggressions. I don't spend my weekends marching in the streets trying to impress some chick with a major in gender studies from San Bernardino Valley College. I don't care about that stuff. But I do care about what it takes to have a good name. It's a sign of being a man. Name, image, likeness. That belongs to Jordan Addison, not you, YouTubers, not you, idiot bloggers. It doesn't. You are not going to convince me that Jordan Addison is doing anything morally wrong by transferring from Pittsburgh to USC. Just because his name has monetary value and yours doesn't? Would any man with self-worth willingly give his name away for others to make profit? Would you just give your name away like that? You wouldn't do it, so stop lying. And by the way, the lies that I'm seeing on other YouTube channels are absolutely profound. There's morons out there whose conspiracy theories are worse than Rachel Maddow. Somebody claimed that USC coach Lincoln Riley gave Addison $3 million in a mansion. $3 million in a mansion. That's stupid. Cut it out. USC does have wealthy boosters, but they couldn't afford that even if they wanted to. One, because if they did cut checks like that, Clay Helton would have been fired 5 years ago. And two, USC boosters are still paying off O.J. Simpson's legal fees. Addison can make, if he chooses to go to USC, he doesn't necessarily need USC's booster money. Addison could make more money in one commercial for Disneyland than he could spending a week signing autographs at Ben Roethlisberger's house of bratwurst and donuts. So stop it. You are peddling a lie. You are you are unapologetically peddling lies. Many of you who are pushing for this, who are pushing for amateurism for black men, I said it, you're pushing amateurism specifically for black men, while you simultaneously cheer underage girls playing tennis on the international professional circuit. Oh, she's just chasing a dream. But that guy, no. He can't make any money. It's for the love of the game. Jordan Addison, just because he believes he is not quite ready for the NFL, but can get more than a stipend for playing for USC, that does not kill college football. College football is getting its just desserts. They have to finally, after decades of taking advantage of young men, finally pay them something. You're not upset. You're not upset about amateur athletics. What's probably really upsetting you out there in YouTube land, you know what it is? It's that the West Coast might be relevant in college football all over again. You're worried that in less than a year, the USC Trojans could literally barnstorm their way into the national title picture with a historically productive offense, and you can't deal with it, so you're starting to cry. Or maybe, just maybe, you're simply upset that you can no longer own another man's name. But that's your moral problem, not mine, and it's not Lincoln Riley's. And one more thing, if you post another video about Jordan Addison leaving Pittsburgh has an H at the end. Could you at least spell it right? Thanks. That felt cathartic. So, if you enjoyed my little rant or the rest of this content, yes, clickety-clack the like and subscribe button. I'm going to be back tomorrow with another video. I'm James. Thanks for watching. Faithful Angelenos is a Kia and Corte El Queso production. Have a great day. Bye-bye.